Today's episode is something special. I'm sitting down with Filippo Bradaschia, the CEO and scientist behind PrimaLuceLab, and also Tom Bramwell, their US Director of Operations and also an accomplished astrophotographer. We're going to be talking about lots of different things, including deep sky imaging, EAA, outreach, radio telescopes, and even full observatory automation. So thank you so much, Filippo and Tom, for coming. I am really excited to have you here. We've had a number of times that we have met over the years, and it's great to finally have you on the Cosmos Safari podcast. So welcome.
Yeah. It's good. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's great to be here and connecting Italy to California.
Yep, all the way here to Pennsylvania. So we're really stretching all of the different time zones right now to make this happen. So thank you for Tom for being up so early and Filippo for staying so late and making this happen for us. So
thank you.
As we start to get into this, I wanted to mention, Filippo, your background in geosciences is something that we both share in common. My background in geosciences, I ended up becoming an educator. You've kind of gone in a different direction with PrimaLuceLab. So I just thought it'd be interesting to ask, how has the scientific background that you have influenced the beginnings of PrimaLuceLab, and tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, well, that's a lot, but it's essentially, I studied geology. So I studied, my geological studies influenced a lot of how I approach everything related to astronomy with a scientific mindset, essentially. Because I like to study, I like to discover something new, I like to explore. But from when I was very young, a boy, I loved both the sky and the earth. So it was natural to me to start study the earth, but also with an eye at the sky. So I was very interested from when I was very young to geology of the moon. This is my thing because it really merges the two things that I love the most, that is earth and the sky. So still, I'm an astrophotographer. I like to use telescopes. I like to develop my own stuff that I want to use as an astrophotographer. But my love for moon geology, the human exploration of the moon in the 60s and 70s and everything related to that is great. This is really what merges my love for astronomy and geology. Yeah.
I have not had as much interest with the moon as I probably should have over the years. And I'm starting to get interested more and more, and I'm reading more about it, especially with the Artemis program and the potential for going back to the moon. And of course, sci-fi is getting on board with that too now. And so I've watched some shows that relate to that. And it's kind of neat to see, where we kind of were and kind of where we are now and how fast we're catching back up to that, space race time period. And, it's kind of going to be a next maybe decade or so of just a rush to get back there. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like. I think we are going to make it happen full time now. And the discoveries, we visited there. We've never really been there. We visited, we touched down, we took back off again. To be able to study it in situ and actually, have a main program that's dedicated to full-time people on the moon is going to be neat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's to me, when I see the moon in high res, I love to see that, of course, because this is what when I take pictures, I always think about from a geological point of view, from a geomapping point of view, I should say, or a moon mapping point of view. But yeah, I cannot wait to see something really artificial on the moon. How much time do we need in the future to see something on the moon with our telescopes?
Yeah, right.
Some city on the moon.
Yeah.
Right. You see the nighttime side, and there's like lights, city lights.
There you go.
Kind of cool.
There you go. sometimes when you think about the resolution on the surface, I think, I mean, we are able to record craters that are less than 1 kilometers on the moon. It means if a large city with some light, we should be able to see that. Why not? It should happen. I think it will happen in our lifetime. So let's see that.
It's funny.
I can't wait.
Tom, and you're an astrophotographer, Filippo, you're an astrophotographer, and our deep sky objects, the moon is like the enemy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I try not to speak badly of Filippo's love, because to me, the moon is a bit of my nemesis. So
that's correct. It's
I like to see the joy.
Such a thing, especially,
I like to see the joy in his face when he talks about it. That's all I know.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, it's a great object to study. I love showing my kids also all the geological features on the moon, and to see faults, to see domes, to see where Apollo landed, the exact position where they landed. I mean, we've been there, and they've been there to really, and also to study the moon. Of course, it was a political thing, blah, 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 whatever, exploration, but everything that was, we gained so much knowledge related to the moon that we know a lot more. And I cannot wait and see what the Artemis program will be able to gain related to knowledge of the moon, because we've been in there for very short periods of time, and we discovered so many new things related to the moon. If we stay, it will be, wow, incredible.
Right.
We'll see.
Right. So as we kind of are going back to the moon, all of the technologies that I think we're already interested in as people who do this astrophotography thing, I think are going to become very popular. And, just with the general public, when you have the ability to look at the moon and have the knowledge that there are people up there, I think it's going to make a big difference. And with the smart telescopes coming out and what you guys do with more advanced equipment, I think that this hobby it's kind of in its infancy, really. And I'm excited to see how it changes our hobby with more people coming in. The access is getting easier with the software that, is now available versus what we've used over the last 2 decades or so.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this space race is going to be also a big boom for the astronomy community. So I know my kids are already interested. My little guy, he's 3, and he's already looking up at the moon through a telescope.
Okay, great. Perfect.
That's why it's exciting for us, is because we're starting to build some of these larger antennas that can track low Earth orbit satellites, and even track rocket telemetry up and down, things like that. So the mounts and things that drive these big dishes are fast enough to track low Earth orbit satellites, which is
correct.
Which is a huge deal, right? We have to be able to know where all this stuff is at.
Yeah. So absolutely. We have these installed at our space center in Italy, and we're doing work there.
It's part of the work that we are doing here in PrimaLuceLab is essentially to not only to develop telescopes used for astrophotography, education, but to push even more to the space application, to support space missions. Because if you develop a technology as precise as a space mission related application requires, essentially still a telescope. It may be bigger, it may request higher precision in pointing, tracking, or whatever, different type of application, but still these are telescopes. So when we talk to space people, we describe these as ground stations, because these are the systems that really support their missions from the ground. But still they are optical telescopes or radio telescopes. And we refer to them as radio telescopes, like the spider radio telescopes that we developed for radio astronomy applications. These are for schools, for the education, to let them own and operate a telescope, radio telescope, that is more affordable than a huge system, easier to purchase, to maintain, to operate, but still is an important application. And from this, we also developed radio ground stations and optical ground stations that are really used already now to support space missions. We are already doing this thing right now. And this is great for us because it's a sort of big evolution of what we developed up to now and is now applied on other type of applications. And being able to, just to say, it's being able to work for the space industry for us is incredible. It's fantastic. It's an inspiration.
The one thing I really have to appreciate as a teacher is the ability to be able to view and do things during the day. And, I have class during the day. That's when my students are there. And to be able to pull up an image from an optical telescope is trying to find somebody else to work with in the world, and find a place that's at nighttime when I'm teaching. Or, with the radio telescope, it could be right outside and, I could pull that up and we could be in control and still doing the astronomy during the daytime. Clouds aren't really an issue either, right? So
just wind.
The limitation is the wind. That's it. But from a technical point of view, you can use them anytime, day, nighttime, any weather condition, expect very high windy conditions. And the great thing is that you can use, they work really like larger professional level radio telescopes, but they are scaled down. Scale down is a relative term because we are talking about a 3 meter, 5 meter antenna. It's meter level,
So I assume with something that large, it can be set up permanently and stay in place. Does it require a dome still, or it can just be open to the weather?
It's open to the weather. So when it's not in use, it stows and parks at the zenith, which has kind of the lowest wind cross section. The Spider has a perforated mesh antenna, so the wind will largely pass through it. And in horrible situations, those are kind of designed to peel away and leave the telescope intact if it, like hurricane force, something blows through.
But the mount is all
that stays weatherproof. Yeah, it stays permanently mounted on those piers. So there's a smaller pier on this guy. We actually just installed the very first 5-meter Spider radio telescope here in the U.S. a few months ago.
Where is that located?
Upstate New Hampshire.
You've been doing the astronomy with the radio telescopes for many years. I mean, what is kind of you're the only ones really doing it that I'm aware of, and that also offer things to the general public. So how did you end up in this spot? There's a reason why not everybody's doing it here. What made you guys, bite off that huge new component of this industry?
Yeah, well, the thing, look at the logo of PrimaLuceLab. There's an antenna over there. The red part is an antenna. And that was from the beginning because we started with the idea. Well, in general, PrimaLuceLab has been established to bring to users professional level technologies for astronomy application. This is what it was about. And it is about right now, still valid. And we started with the radio telescope, with the idea of creating the first radio telescope that you could use like an optical telescope. I mean, right now you have these incredible technologies that you can just buy, and you don't care about understanding how it works. You just buy it and use it. And then you can start thinking, okay, I would like to learn how a mirror works, how an image is created, but you can start from just buying. And when we had this idea of the radio telescope, I was just searching and searching on the web what was available, because I simply started with the idea, okay, can I buy a radio telescope as in the same way I can buy an optical telescope? And the answer was no.
Right.
You had to really build one. And in order to build one, you really, when I mean build, I mean really to develop. Because this is not a technology that is easy to build. I mean, you can buy a satellite dish and try to point at the sun, and you see a signal. And this is all it was 15 years ago. I mean, just look at the sun, and this is, and I was searching for a website describing these applications, and then I was looking at the professional level application, and there was a mismatch. So in the website that were stating, I built a radio telescope or do it yourself radio telescope, the final application, the real result was very poor. You had nothing very interesting in the same way that you have with an optical telescope. On the other side, I was studying professional level astronomy that was very complex because involved very difficult technologies that simply was not available to the market. That was something that you was not able to buy. And that's why we decided, okay, we have to be the first that really are able to develop a complete radio telescope that really produce pictures, spectra, all the different results that radio astronomers used to have with big dishes, but on an affordable level. So it has to be smaller, it has to be easy to buy, easy to use, easy to maintain. And this is the Spider today.
Have you guys ever come across the Goldstone Apple Valley Radio Telescope? It's through the Jet Propulsion's laboratory, and I believe it's the University of Southern California. No. Okay. So through my work with over the years, I've done stuff for JPL with their solar system ambassadors. And I came across this opportunity where basically students can operate, I believe it's 30 meter. It's a 30 meter radio telescope. It was part of the Deep Space Network for NASA to, talk to their deep space missions for many years. And this particular telescope was set aside that it could be also used for education at times. It'd be an interesting connection that, you guys, I think, they've got only so many people and only one telescope dish. It'd be kind of neat to be able to have that big one, that big resolution that they have, and to work with some of these other ones, and not to get into the weeds, but like the interferometry that you can do with a radio telescope and basically connect them all together. I mean, is there any plans that you guys could maybe talk about how, if many of these were to be able to work together, how that
they will. I mean, this is something that we are already working on by many years. So when you have a large number of radio telescopes that are comparable in terms of how you process your data, because they are different in terms of dimension of the antenna, but receivers are all the same. The way we collect data is the same, and this makes this system a perfect platform in order to merge data then. So this is something that it's not really a secret, because we are working on this development by many years, and we already created some add-on to the Spider radio telescope in order to let our users start doing interferometry. So right now we already have some customer that is using more radio telescope, more Spider radio telescope, to develop their own interferometer system. But our goal is to create an interferometry system that allow you to connect more Spider radio telescope without the need of develop parts. So on our view, the interferometer is an add-on to the spider, something that you will be able to buy in the future. So you will be able to connect more radio telescopes located also very far away each other, a sort of VLBI interferometry.
Could you, like, once again, without going into too much of the weeds here, just to kind of clarify and make sure that people are following what exactly an interferometer is and why it's important, and kind of the basics of just like how it works.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't
So
mind.
essentially, big problem of radio astronomy is the resolution, because essentially if we want to go technical, the formula of the resolution is lambda versus diameter. We never consider that on the optical, because when we do optical, what do we consider? 114 versus the diameter of the telescope in centimeters. In Europe, we use this formula. In inches is different, but because we use the fixed number. But the real formula is the resolution is lambda on the diameter. So on lambda on radio is a big number. So this gives you it's a wavelength.
Right.
And so in wavelength in 1420 megahertz is 21 centimeter. So our wavelength is something like this, as long as this. So this, even if you have meter, 2 meter, 3 meter, 5 meter radio telescope, your resolution is very low in any case. And you would have to have 50, 100 meter radio telescope in order to have some arc-minute resolution. And consider that the radio telescope has not multi-pixels, has not a multi-pixel camera. It's a 1 pixel camera pointed to the sky. And your resolution is like 3 degrees, 5 degrees.
Wow.
This is normal for a single dish radio telescope, especially compact radio telescope.
Now, putting that in perspective, the moon is half a degree.
Half a degree, yeah.
So 6 moons can fit in 1 pixel.
Perfect. There you go.
Across.
So this is the difficulty of radio astronomy. I mean, if you use small antennas, your resolution is small, but your field of view is wide. And interferometry essentially allows you to merge data from more antenna in order to create a sort of synthesized, digitalized antenna where the resolution is no more the diameter of the antenna, but is the distance between antennas. And theoretically, you would be able to have an antenna as large as the Earth. Then there are many other problems to overcome. And these are usually the problem that professional astronomers have to face, and they found a way to have the solutions. But these require very high and expensive technologies. This is what we are working on, to provide something easy to use and affordable also for interferometry.
So I want to book it now. When you're coming back on the podcast to talk about our first radio telescopes on the moon, and then we can have that conversation.
There you go. Perfect.
A few years from now, right?
Yeah, no problem. I will be there on the moon. I will do the installation service.
You can do
no
that.
Problem. Just call me. No problem.
So when doing radio first, almost, it seems like, as you mentioned, you ended up going into optical telescopes as well, and all of the gear and accessories that come along. How much overlap are you working with here? Because it sounds like there's a lot of different stuff. Of course, you're tracking still. You're following the sky. You're dealing with somewhat similar ways of capturing data, but not really. So how much overlap for the general population of people who have watched this or listened to this podcast that do astrophotography with optical? Like, where are the connections that are helpful to understand?
So, when we started the development of the Spider Radio Telescope, the first thing I requested to my development team was I want to be able to make radio maps because it's radio astrophotography. And it's an astrophotography that you can do in daytime. So that was my first thing. And but essentially, you see the radio telescope as the ones that Tom pointed is essentially composed by an Altaz mount that has to be weatherproof because you don't want to cover it. And there are parts that really are really the same type of concept, but other parts are completely different. Like we don't use a camera in a radio telescope. We use a receiver that has a single pixel. And instead of using a camera with a multi-pixel sensor, we use the mount to move the radio telescope and progressively create a map by really scanning the sky. So there are some parts of technologies that are similar to optical telescopes, and the other parts are completely different. And they need a completely different type of development, even different type of developers that I had to hire in order to develop all the parts that were needed.
But I also think what Dave is getting at is, like, where did our love of astrophotography start? And I think you should tell the story of Omar and you, and how you have a love of radio astronomy, but Omar had a love of astrophotography, and as well as you.
Yeah.
And you guys suffered quite a bit. And I think that this company was born from suffering.
Well,
it's a lot of suffering for me, and that's why I relate to. It's really why I relate to this company so well, and how I felt a lot of the struggle.
Yeah, the beginning, because the initial business plan of the company was we will develop the first amateur radio telescope that will be able to make radio maps. That it was about. Very simple. We will develop it, we will sell it, and that's it. That was PrimaLuceLab in 2013, and 12 years ago.
A radio map's kind of like a mosaic, right? I mean,
it's a mosaic. Yeah, right. It's a mosaic. It's nothing more than a mosaic. And in the first 2 years, we hit the wall hard every day because we discover all the limitations and all the errors, and we really had to find new ways in order to bypass all the limitation that was that we were discovering, because we started with the idea of using some wish that already exists. Maybe we can modify that and create something at an amateur level, but we really had no results. And since I had my mind was focused on results, I didn't care a lot about technology. I wanted the technology to be easy to use, but I wanted to have results. I wanted to see pictures. I wanted to record a map of a supernova remnant during the day. That was it was about.
What was the time? And just to kind of timestamp this, what year was this? When did this all start?
2013, 12 years ago. Yeah. But essentially, in the first 2 years, we spent our days in testing. And the problem was there was nothing to compare with, because you are the first that is trying to do this thing, and you cannot really compare what others are doing. There was just a few examples, something, but not really. But I remember at the beginning of 2016, we went to the American Astronomical Society meeting in Florida back then. It was January, and we had with us our first prototype. Finally, really working prototype, something that was really producing some data, interesting data, and we showed to the professors over there, and they said to me, "Listen, you did a great job because we are trying to do this thing in our university. We are trying to develop our own radio telescope, and we are not able to do that. Please keep doing on this thing, but we need this feature, we need that feature, we need the other feature." So they needed more than what we already did in the first 2 years of really struggle, you know. So we decided we need to keep working on this. We want to develop even more. We want to develop new stuff. And at that moment, we decided to divide the company into two parts, one related to optical and one related to radio. Because some parts are really, they work in parallel, like the mount or also software development. They can be developed by the same people that develop Play, and the same people will develop our software Radio Universe Pro for the radio telescope. So it's a joint development. But some part needed a specific work, and we needed to hire specific developers. And so we had to develop from scratch, from nothing, everything related to radio astronomy, as we did for astronomy. Because astronomy is still there, it's still our passion, and we still work to develop all the, especially for the astrophotography stuff that most of the people knows about
story
us.
How the eagle came to be, Filippo.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
would you talk about our car trip from SFO to the show?
When I met you? Yeah. So I had become a customer of Avalon mounts because I was suffering with other gear, and I could only see a very narrow sliver of the sky in my backyard, and meridian flipping for me was very frustrating. So I went this route because they don't flip at the meridian. And we'd become really good friends, and I had found, and we were talking earlier when I told you the trade show was like right by my house in San Jose. They were coming to that trade show, and I was like, well, I own 2/3 of your product line. If you'd like to show my mounts at the show, you're welcome to. I can just come drop my hardware off at the trade show for you. And they said, well, would you be interested in helping us in our booth? I was like, sure, that'd be great. And so I was going to help them at the AIC conference, but they were sharing a booth with PrimaLuceLab, and their CEO was going to be traveling. And would I be willing to pick him up at the airport along with him? So sure, yeah, no problem. So I went and picked him up and introduced himself, and he was describing this product to me that he was going to be introducing at the show, the Eagle 2. And he was describing what it did and how it worked. And it was like checking boxes for me, because I was a 20-year Apple employee. I was trying to do astrophotography on a Mac, and I had finally surrendered and switched to a PC. And I had the cable bucket, and I was suffering, and what he was describing just sounded so simple and elegant. And then he said, well, for helping us in the booth, I have one for you.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I still have it in there. I still use it in my lab. It's
what is number 2?
3.
Eagle 2
Eagle
Pro
0003.
3, number 3.
Yeah. And like if my building catches fire, I'm grabbing that and my dad's like the 2 things that I couldn't replace. So like it changed my world. And after that show, we became very good friends. And over time, I realized, I think I zapped my Eagle at one point with a wiring mistake that I had made. And I had to send it back, and they fixed it for me, and they were very gracious. But it was so cumbersome and so time consuming to send product back and get it fixed. And it became obvious to me. I'm like, man, these guys could really use somebody here in the US. And for a while I was like, well, why don't you send me a cache of like common parts that fail on things? And so they would send me parts and I would fix things, and I'd use their UPS account and send, warranty repairs and things. That was kind of doing that on the side. But I was ready for a change eventually from Apple, and these guys really could benefit from somebody being here full time. And so that's where I was like,
that knows astrophotography.
Yeah. Well, I was born a customer, right?
Yeah.
I fell in love with their products and their design, and their designer Omar is next world good.
That is here somewhere. He's at work somewhere.
I always tell people that Omar was touched by the hand of the divine to build really cool astronomy stuff. So we just became friends, but like the Eagle was born out of frustration from those two guys going up into the Dolomites.
Oh yeah.
And having issue after issue. Oh, we forgot a cable. Oh, this power supply isn't working, or whatever, So they wanted to simplify things and boil it down, and that's kind of where the Eagle was born. And so it's all the products that we make they're the result of a problem that we had to fix for ourselves.
And you mentioned, software, and I know you guys have been developing and really pushing this Play software. And one of the things I really wanted to have you on today, Filippo, is the book. We have Explore the Universe Through Astrophotography, Capturing Pictures with Telescopes and Play Software. And this is the second
edition.
Not
a very short title. It's very long.
What are you going to do? And then and through reading this and looking on your website, you also have one for radio astronomy as well, which I did not know.
Also. Yeah. Well, I like to not only to write books, but to explain things. So this is why for me it's quite natural. But software it's like related, especially to plays. It's same thing as the Eagle. The Eagle was born because of a bit experience we had on the Dolomites, and we traveled 2 hours to reach a beautiful place, and we forgot the cable, and we've come back home, and that was the Eagle, essentially where the idea of the Eagle came from. The Esatto focuser comes from a night where I had my Edge HD telescope on an Avalon mount with a beautiful, cool camera, whatever. Everything was perfectly. I missed a focuser for the Edge, and I had to refocus manually the entire night during acquisition. Everything else was automated except for focusing. I had to refocus manually. So the day after, I went back to Omar and said, hey, you have to design a focuser for me. And that was the Esatto. And Play is the same. So Play, essentially, the idea of Play is because of with the Windows computer, essentially you have a lot of softwares. There are so many, but most of them are not really easy to use. They are not designed to be easy to use. They are designed to connect everything and to let you do everything.
Right.
But when you reach that level, the complications start to really appear, because you can do so many things that you don't know what to do. And usually I express this concept by saying it's like having a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. You know that you have the dial on top, where you have the mode selector. And usually you start from the automation. Auto mode, you start with that. Then you go in semi-automatic. And when you are very good, you go in manual.
Right.
In astrophotography, we do the opposite. We start in manual mode, then you go in semi-automatic mode when you start learning new things, and then you only the best go in auto. And it's just the opposite. And I thought, well, it should be the opposite. You should have to start with something that is easier, but not fully automated. Because to me, when you do in full automation, you do not understand. And when you do not understand, you cannot improve.
And the trick really is doing that without losing quality, because I know that's what a lot of people are concerned about when they get to the point where it's automated. Is it going to do the job that I know I can do manually or semi-automatically? And the answer has been for many years, no. So that's starting to become possible when with Play software and others that we're now seeing the quality come through in addition to the automation, because it's been possible, but just not in a very good way.
Sure. I mean, think about this. We always support all the incredible astrophotography software automation that already exists. We always support. All our devices support software. I mean, this is the reason why we developed the Eagle as a Windows computer, because we wanted to provide to the user the possibility to install any software they prefer to use with their telescopes. If you want to use Sequence Generator Pro, Nina, Voyager, whatever, MaxMDL, any type of, there are beautiful software, very powerful softwares out there. But also, we missed something that was easy to use. We missed something that was more like, no, I cannot say like a smart telescope, but something that was easier to use, funnier to use also. May I say that, Tom? Yeah, funnier. And to provide a link to the top quality and top feature astrophotography software that you cannot start with. I mean, I cannot really see a lot of people starting with Nina or Sequence Generator Pro. When you start, you need simplicity more than features. Then you can go there. Then you can, when you learn the basics, you
those
can
other
go.
applications can be very discouraging to a newcomer.
Yeah. So essentially, we developed Play because we saw something was missing, and we developed Play in order to let people start and enjoy astrophotography. That's why we call it Play, because you can play with the sky. That's it. Then you are able to use any type of software you want. It's completely open. It's an open system. The Eagle is an open system computer. It's exactly, it lets you connect the devices you want, even our competitors one. We don't lock anyone in our platform. You can use the software you like, use the devices you like, and this will allow you to improve and without having to lock you into something. This is the opposite of what we do.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you can use Play on any computer. It's free, but you need to have like one device that is
just one of our device. Yeah.
Right.
Focuser. Yeah.
Just one focuser, one Giotto flat field generator, or one Alto telescope cover motor. It works not only in the Eagle. It's for Windows computer. That's it.
Right, and then within the actual software, this book is the user manual.
Yep. On the help menu, you can get the whole book.
Yeah. So the book is free. You can download from our website. You can you find it inside of Play, and you can also order the print version if you like to have the print high quality with all the pictures and the hardcover. It's on order.
I'll put some links in the show notes and the descriptions so that we have direct connections to those to access the software as well as the book and all the other things we're discussing today.
Yeah. And we are keep developing that. I mean, Play, we are adding more and more features, but still the idea is to have something that has to be easy. We don't want. Sometimes I get some email saying, "Can you add this feature? Can you add that feature?" I mean, I get the point, but First of all, in front of my mind is I want simplicity. Otherwise, we will end up having another software that is as complex as others that are already there. They have more more feature than we have in Play, but we don't want to create that. Play has to
And
be
they're good.
simple and fun to use.
And they're good software.
Yeah.
It would be hard to compete against that. It's not
Yeah,
your goal.
we don't need
right?
to reinvent the wheel. We're not
Right.
we're not a software company. It's not.
Yeah.
So, just on a like really high level, you've written now 2 editions of this book. You've written an edition of the radio astronomy book. Who is your audience? Why spend all of this time and effort to put together a book?
That's a good question, because you need a lot of time in order to write a book, and I keep doing that. I mean, I'm writing part of the book every week. I add some, and I keep adding to the online version and to the printed version. I plan to release another version of the book this spring. So we are adding more and more, and it's a big effort, but. I like my idea is that essentially when you love the sky, you are an explorer. And when you start, everything seems too difficult, Right. You start by looking at video on YouTube, you start by reading everywhere, and you are trying to collect informations. And there are so many that creates a lot of confusion. And if you just read the manual of everything you can buy, you don't get the knowledge you need. Because you would need to have someone close to you, one friend of yours that already knows astronomy very well. This is what you would need.
That's where I was. Yep.
Yeah. And we spent, also me, when I started, I spent a lot of time into troubles also on stupid errors, because errors, when you fix them, they seem stupid, but when you're doing that, they are not stupid to you. Yeah. And this creates frustration. And so that's why I was thinking, I cannot duplicate myself, but what I can do is to bring my knowledge that I gained over 30 years of astronomy into something that has not to be a manual. It's just not a manual of play. It has to be a book with my experience, with a lot of advices, what I would do, what can I could my English is bad, sorry guys, but my errors in the past.
Yes.
I was going to tell you that I've seen the value firsthand, because I have a local customer here that I've gone and done some house calls with, and he recently got the new Sesto Senso 3 for the SCT, and he's using Play, and he got the book, and he's following along. He's an older guy, and he likes having the printed book, and he goes through it like lessons.
Oh yeah, I feel like you do a great job at just explaining, and if you even mention in the first like chapter or two, if you feel like you can skip this part, feel free. Like you don't have to read it cover to cover or even in order. It's kind of broken up in a logical way that allows you to kind of use the parts that you need, and like a user manual, but it reads like a book.
Yeah, if you want just calibration and read about that, you can go do that.
With a lot
and
of
I'm adding more and more content. So how many pages do you have in your version of the book? How many pages do you have over there?
Oh, I'd have to look. Give me a second.
Yeah, look at that, because I think I reached 211 today.
Okay, 160.
There you go. There will be 50 more pages already in the next version, and I'm adding more. I mean, and that's why I want to release that still for free, because people has to they can read it and download it. It's my experience. That's it. And the same thing I did with my radio astronomy book. I mean, we did radio astronomy. The concept was even more complex, because I was studying radio astronomy. When we started PrimaLuceLab, I studied a lot of radio astronomy book because I needed to study a lot in order to understand all the technical concepts. And on astrophotography, I know a lot of stuff already. So I just need to write to create a picture, the explanations, but I know a lot of things. For radio astronomy, I first needed to study. And then I started taking notes. But my notes were so big that one day I remember I just noted that my notebook was so thick that I say, okay, this looks like a book.
Right. Yep.
And maybe I can create something that essentially is the link between a student that wants to start radio astronomy and the university level radio astronomy book. I had a lot and I studied a lot, but there was a big difference between someone that start to read about something about radio astronomy and a radio astronomy book, university level, that was full of math and whatever. And my book goes just in the middle.
So we're approaching about an hour in right now. I'd like to transition us to talk a little bit about the PL Space Center. And I think this is like a perfect transition. You're talking about outreach, you're talking about doing work for others.
So essentially, when consider that we developed hardware, software, everything related to all these solutions that we have, so we reached a point where we understood that we needed to have a testing field where we can really use a product continuously. So what we did in the past is that we had mobile telescopes, portable telescopes, to test everything. But in order to have a continuous and more reliable testing phase, we needed to have essentially a fixed observatory. So a couple of years ago, we started developing what we call today the PL Space Center. PL, of course, stands for PrimaLuce. The PL Space Center is today our astronomical observatory that also uses technologies for space mission support. So it's not only for astronomy, but also for space applications. It includes 3 different instruments. We have a radio ground station for satellite monitoring. So we download the data from satellite in orbit in different bands. We have a radio telescope for radio astronomy, a SPIDER. And then we have what we call the PL Observatory Station, that is essentially an astronomical observatory made up of our dome and even our designed mount, because we said, okay, instead of buying a mount, why don't we design one for ourselves? Why not? And we have experience in mounts design. So we designed also a mount for a big mount, is 200 kilos payload capacity.
Wow.
With 4 telescopes in parallel, big telescopes, an H14, a RASA 11, an FSQ. Then we have a solar telescope, so multiple telescopes over there. And essentially, that is the location where we test everything that we develop from the hardware point of view and from the software point of view. But of course, it's located in Italy. So we can test something, but not really the way that we would like to have in our daytime, because our developers work in daytime, of course. So we can test pointing the sun, taking some pictures, everything, check that everything is ready. But some work requires nighttime. So we are currently talking with Tom about the possibility to duplicate the system in California, so we can have, during our daytime, it's his nighttime, and the opposite for him also. He could connect to our here.
One of the best things about our relationship is, like, when I'm rolling in the morning, they're closing up shop at the end of the day. And then at the end of my day, they're waking up. So we kind of get to square off about twice a day. If there's something I need during my day, I can ask for it before I go to bed. I wake up and there it is. It's great. And and one of the genius things would be is if I just joined this local club, and they have a really nice property about an hour and 10 minutes from my house. And they have like a double wide house with a kitchen and 3 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms, bunk beds and couches and things like that. And then they've got concrete pads for like mobile traveler setups. And then they've got concrete pads for members with domes that can put domes and things on. And they have several that are currently available unoccupied. And so I've been doing a lot of work with the club, sprucing up the place, cleaning it, fixing things on the house. They had a swamp cooler with a beehive in it that we had to get removed, and I put in an air conditioner, and so they really like PrimaLuce, and they're kind of excited that we're there. And so it kind of sounds like I may be able to get a concrete pad from them. And if so, then we would like to build one of our new 3-meter domes here, so that if they have some new product that they want to test, they can send it to me. I can go there, install it. And then when they roll in the morning, they can just open the roof. And
Yeah.
I'm only an hour away too. So if they need someone to lay hands on it, that isn't that big of a deal for me. Yeah, that would be really cool to do.
Is this facility in the desert then?
It's high desert, so it's at about 3,500 feet elevation. Yeah. Still pretty dark out there. I've been doing some imaging out there as of like this last September, and it's really nice. It's really nice.
Yeah,
Our location is not really great instead, because it's very close to the city, but this is where we need to go and physically maybe change something and test new things. So it has to be reachable in a very easy way. So unfortunately, essentially is still in the city. But
do you get the chance to go out, Filippo, and do the astrophotography as much as you'd like? I mean, it seems like you're very busy with things. Do you still get out to the Dolomites?
Yeah. So the thing is, I have 2 daughters. The older one is she's already 17 and she's flying away. So no more astronomy for her. But the younger one, she seems to be interested, and she's 10 actually. She's she is in the moment where she asks me things. I talk to her about easy things.
You're still
usually
cool.
yeah, I'm still cool. Yeah, correct. You're right. And and so it's something that I have a direct interest in trying to inspire them, at least the younger one. So this is part of my telescope. Not really astrophotography, but this is something that I do with play, because when I show her the sky, I use play, and when we do deep sky together, I just launch AutoStack, and you see the picture in real time, creating without any processing too complex, just a picture. And a similar thing of a smart telescope. So we start on visual. So I show her the sky by looking at the eyepiece. Then I remove the eyepiece, I connect the camera, and I have the telescope with already the eagle and everything connected to, so it's very easy and quick. And then we launch play, we go inside the house, and I show her picture in real time in a very easy way. It's more than astrophotography. It could be something like electronically assisted astrophotography, let's say, not astronomy.
I think in kind of just having this conversation, we're touching on something that's kind of important. So even if you are like an astrophotographer who really likes to be hands-on and do everything, I'll make all the tweaks, but if you have a family or if you're doing outreach, like play software is going to give you that simplicity
Absolutely.
with the capabilities still there that you're kind of striving for. You know, you don't want to give up on the quality because you want to show everybody the best that you can, but you're keeping it as simple as possible so that if there is interest, you're not scaring them off.
Yeah, it gives
Yeah.
you a nice full color auto stacked image. As you sit there, the longer it sits, the clearer it gets, and you can just share that live. It's great.
Yeah, because they need to see something real time. You know, they cannot wait. They cannot wait you to save your feeds file and then process and they show something. You know, they want to see something on the screen in few minutes. You have usually 3 minutes of attention. That's it.
That's the great thing about Play is you get a color preview where I normally use Sequence Generator Pro and they still don't give you a color preview of your image. It's still grayscale.
Are you
Yeah.
doing any sort of like ability? Can you do any sort of adjustments within the software? I haven't
Yeah.
really had a chance to use it in that capacity.
Yeah,
you
in real time.
the stretch. Yeah.
You can do stretch, you can do color balance. You have a feature to auto flat the background if you don't want to. If you do auto stack and you won't use a flat fill generator at that moment, and you have a filter to auto stretch to auto flat the background. You have an automatic deep sky enhancer in order to increase the visibility in real time of the object. So instead of what I do with my kids, usually I take 30 seconds to 1 minute exposure, and then I let it auto stack real time. And you see the picture improving on the screen. And then when I see that they want to see something different, I just stop it and let's move on another object. It's so easy. 1 month ago, I was at their school to show with the telescope. They just wanted me to show the sky to them. They are 10 years. It's first grade school, so I was there with telescope and we were looking at the sky, showed them picture, and sometimes I really enjoy doing these things that essentially reminds me what I did in my early years of astrophotography. But it seems like now I'm the boss and I'm in control.
Very
But
cool.
still, it's outreach. It's very important we do these things because most of the people, I clearly see that, is 99% of the people, they never, not even look at the sky. I'm not talking about looking with a telescope. They simply don't look at the sky.
Right. Yeah. They're looking at their phone or whatever.
And this inspires a lot of people of keeping more attention to what we have on top of our head. It's free for everybody. It's over there.
Now, you
Omar is saying, "Hey, come here, Omar.
Come
here.
Yeah,
I want to."
Yeah.
Omar, he won't say a word for sure. He is focused on design.
Hi.
Vieni qua. You're live. There you go. Omar, the designer.
Hi, Omar.
He is not hearing because I'm everything on my earplug, but it's how do you say it? AirPods.
He's the reason I quit my job and joined this company 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
Omar, tell Omar thank you for all the awesome equipment.
Ti dice grazie per tutto i progetti e la strumentazione. Fighissimo. Dave te lo dice.
So you were talking about the PL Space Observatory, and I know you guys are doing. Now we've been talking about outreach. You mentioned the PL Space Observatory as like this testing facility, but it also serves as an outreach for you guys as well, correct?
Yes, it is, because we use that in our daytime job essentially to test everything. But in nighttime, it's essentially a free observatory close to the city where students can really go and essentially have an experience with the sky. So sometimes even during the year, we have these events where we really collect people interested in the sky, and we show them the technologies and what you can do is a way in order to show what we develop here, also in our city, because we are a small company. I mean, we are not a huge company. And most of the people, even in our city, they don't know us unless they are amateur astronomers. And you know that we are just a few in the world. So, unfortunately, but
for now.
Ciao.
Omar saluta. Say hello. Ciao, ciao. But yeah, it's an observatory. It's not a public observatory in the strict term. You know, it's not a place where you simply can go and it's our testing facility. But we like to show to the people what you can really see on the sky. So simple, and we have the tools to do that. So.
And these are your domes and the full like turnkey observatories that you're hoping to eventually bring globally. I know there's mention about bringing the one to Tom's location as the.
Yep.
I think Tom's excited about possibly the first one in the U.S.
Yep. Yeah.
It will ship, and the way that they're constructed, they just basically ship in two halves, and they're assembled together. It looks very simple. As long as they're isolated on pallets and we can do the ocean freight.
These domes are all sky domes. I mean, they completely open. It's a clamshell type, and we call it the outpost. That's the name because it is, you know. And it's a 3-meter diameter, and we used to install in our own observatories that we install all over the world. Mostly, we install these observatories for outreach applications usually with the smaller telescopes. So they make these systems very affordable because you have a turnkey system you can use starting from zero, and the book is your guide. In the book, there are so many references to a complete observatory and procedures and maintenance, also because it's the reference book that we provide for the observatories. So there is a lot of people that I'm always in touch with people that are not amateur astronomers. They started from zero completely, and they have the book, they have play on the observatory station. And that's all they need. They started from zero, and this way they engage people. We installed one in California 1.5 years ago in a library. Mm-hmm. And of course, they had no knowledge about astrophotography and astronomy in general. And they started from zero, absolutely. So there is a library with an associated astronomical observatory, and they use that. And this is, you cannot think about providing this type of users a complex software to run a complex machine. Maybe the machine can be complex, made up of many parts, but if you provide an installation service, so you remove all the difficulties of all the technologies, the difficulty related to technologies, and you provide a fully functional system with an easy-to-use software, you have a solution. And this is what we do.
So as you continue to kind of develop your simplicity of the software now, you've got the full integration with your systems, your observatories, coming back to the kind of the education thing where you're trying to do this outreach now, you're kind of matured to that point now. As a company, the technical hurdles are kind of not necessarily behind you, but you're striving for more and doing more. Where do you see things going in the next 5-10 years of the company? Like, what direction do you feel like you are pointing right now?
To me, I see a lot of company not similar to us, but that I know them very well, and they moved from the astronomy market to the space market. I see this thing differently. That's essentially why we have two different catalogs, two different websites, two different type of instruments that we develop. So space and the universe is there. We work to, and my call out is to let you explore the universe like a pro. Okay, pro may mean a great astrophotographer or a space institute. I don't care. I would like to support both the type of applications because I love astrophotography and I know how educational could be for everybody, but I also love space. And that's why I'm really honored to work with space companies, actually. And this is what we are moving in PrimaLuceLab. So a company that supports two different applications, but that are two faces of the same coin, that is the universe.
I'm kind of bringing us full circle. I mean, you make it sound so easy, but I think the differentiator here is it is the fact that there's a scientist, who's at the CEO level and understands both sides of this in ways that not everybody can do. Because of your science background, you can communicate to these people who are the science people and the engineers in ways that not everybody could. And so I think that's unique to PrimaLuce to have you as a science minded person in a position that you can make those types of decisions, which is kind of cool.
He's the reason we're such a special company, really.
I think it is, honestly. And you're enthusiastic, you're always trying to strive for more. And it's what drew me to want to talk to you, in the first place. And I think, the sky's the limit, right? To be weird, but like, it's true. I think you guys have such an amazing place in this community with the quality of the equipment and just the goal of kind of bringing it to everybody still, because there's plenty of companies out there that could go, gung-ho with, high end, very difficult to understand stuff that is geared towards the best of the best science people, but not nobody in the general public could understand, or just completely going the other direction and saying, well, we really just mass, get it out there as a product, and we really don't necessarily, not that they don't care about quality, but the quality comes second to just usability of and access to people. You guys are finding like a happy medium, which I find is an interesting and kind of unique thing.
Thank you. I mean, it's difficult,
right?
And but it's inspiring, and everything comes from a passion, So that's why we think we want to show that we have passion in this type of applications, and that we developed all the things that we would like to use. And essentially, this is the secret.
Yeah, it's all guilty pleasures. We all do this just to fix our own problems, and then we share it with we're very discerning customers of our own bits.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty much, benefited the rest of us. So thank you for having a lot of problems, I guess. Thank you for all of your pain and suffering, Tom.
Well, our goal is to just not have to touch the telescope. Like once you get it pointed to Polaris, the goal is to not touch anything, calibration or otherwise. So that's
my place in this community. I've kind of meandered my way back and forth over the years, and it eventually comes back to just education and trying to get people excited about this. And I am the first to say I am not the best astrophotographer out there, and I have no interest in it, to be honest. I'm interested in just the excitement that people have when I see it on especially when I was doing a lot more of the in-person outreach, where I could see on the person's face the light bulb moment, or that interest all of a sudden take off when they turn to the person next to them, like, oh my gosh, you need to look into this eyepiece. And I don't get as much of that as I did with the face-to-face outreach, but the kind of like what you said, Filippo, with the book, where I can bring it to a format now that is kind of allowing me to multiply myself, and through this channel and communication with people like you, where I get to meet people and talk to people who have these experiences and this knowledge, has helped me continue to learn, which is where I benefit, I think. And at the same time, I'm bringing it to people who hopefully can benefit from these kind of conversations. So it's been a pleasure to have you guys as friends over the years. When
Thank
we
you.
meet at NEAF, it's always nice to stop by your booth at NEAF, and I know that Tom and I were discussing that's kind of like where the next
see you in a
thing.
few months. Yeah.
We wait for you.
And I look forward to seeing what you guys are doing. It's always interesting to see the next thing.
We will have fun things to show at NEAF.
Very good.
Absolutely. We will have.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming on, and I guess until next time, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Let us know.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you're still listening and like this podcast, please consider becoming one of our Patreon patrons. Memberships start as low as $3 per month, with benefits including opportunities to ask questions of our guests. Also, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this podcast to help us bring the universe even closer than you think.